Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of The Loud Lens. You might hear my voice is going, but it is still me. It is Khandie, the photographer, the straight talker, and your favorite no fluff chaos creating coach. That's it. And today episode is gonna sting, and I sense I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this, but I promise you, it's a slap in the face your career has been begging for. So grab a cuppa, grab a shot of whiskey, vodka. Maybe I should get one for this Friday. Take a breath because we're about to tear down the golden facade of community over competition. And I like to title this with community. Well, I was going to title it with half the community you idolize wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. So, yeah, you know that community you're desperate to be part of? Nah, you're bending over backwards to impress them and they couldn't give a crap. So let's talk about it. I know you're going to hate me for this. I know I'm going to have a lot of backlash with it, but I'm talking to someone who has been in this so-called community for a very long time. And now when I say so-called, I don't mean all the community. We're adults, we're aware, but there are best parts in there. There are not awful parts, but sometimes I feel like people are desperate to belong to a group that doesn't actually care about them. And some people say the word community and actually don't mean it. Now, we're told this industry is one big family full of empowering creatives. Let's cover up support groups, mentorship circles, industry retreats with lanyards and charcuterie boards and yoga and sunrise. Yeah, okay. But in reality, it's clicks. It's cool tables. It's cool kids getting together at networking events. It's who knows who looks like they fit the aesthetic of success. Not all, I'm going to tell you, not all, okay? But it is for a lot of it. You show up in a Facebook group with honest questions and you either get silent sarcasm or subtle dig how you should already know that. I mean, don't be wrong. If someone asks me about what is ISO, I'm like, Google is there, my friend. Google is there. If you're asking something a bit more niche, I would, yeah, okay, voice of experience. How would you like this? I would say, yeah, we can talk about that. But if you're genuinely asking me what the ISO is, I'm like, Google is your friend, mate. There are many other search engines. And I do think Facebook and many social media platforms has sort of removed our ability to self-learn. We've decided we're just going to post it in a forum and wait for a random person to spend time to write it to us when we could have literally got the answer via Google in a matter of seconds. But sorry. I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying. Sometimes, you might have seen there was that famous Scotland retreat that's been all over TikTok that was anything but. So you attend a community focused workshop only to find out it's a thinly veiled upsell to a coaching funnel, or it's literally just a bunch of people chancing it and pretending they've put in time and effort to make this amazing workshop, and you've actually been stiffed. Or in the case of the Scottish guys, they were screaming at shouting each other at a derelict building that they had no right to be on. I think I was informed. It's not community, right? You tag someone on Instagram because they inspired your shoot and they leave you on red. Now they don't have to reply, but you'd think maybe they would like to. It's not always community. Sometimes it's slightly performance-based community. It's gatekeeping. It's like when you get that person, you say, "Oh, where did you get that from?" And you know it's a Canva. You watch it, you see them post, say, "Hey, I was wondering where someone got this from." And everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, really vague." Dude, it's Canva. They got it off Canva. Why are we gatekeeping that? What is going on? Why are we being like this? Now, let's talk about why it hits so deep to so many of you, because I did not just come up with this, shall I say, this episode on my own. I was hearing from people in my DMs, I was in a group and people were chatting about it, and I thought, you know what, actually, these experiences were quite valid. People don't think the community exists in the way that maybe it's perceived to exist, or people try to push it exists. Because deep down, you're not looking for advice, you're looking for validation. You want photographers to admire you, to pat you on the back, to welcome you, to say, hey, you're one of us. And you think if you can just break in, get noticed, be reposted, invited to a style shoot, then you've made it. But that's not what you get, right? You don't get it. And then you start to spiral, you start questioning your work, you overread it, you mimic the style, you shrink yourself, you stop showing up, all because someone with 20k followers doesn't reply to your comment. And you might think that's not a big deal, that doesn't really happen. It does. I see people annoyed that they aren't getting responded to. I see people annoyed when someone has success and they're like, well, I'm doing that and I'm not getting it. We have this desperate need in photography, I think, in most creative industries, that we have to belong. But half this community don't know you exist. And I'll be honest, most of them aren't going to step out of their lane to help you because they're all trying to make money. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but a lot of this stuff has been going on for years, okay? Now, this fake community hurts in more ways than one. It can stifle originality. Everyone's shooting the same flat lays. They're doing the same the same moody couples. And God forbid, you remember the whole thing where everyone had the pampas graphs? it kind of also reinforces elitism. You can't, if you didn't train at a certain workshop or you're not part of a certain circle, then your work is less than. I have seen this. In fact, I have seen this with a certain gathering of photographers, and I won't say exactly what it is, so I don't want to rumble them too much. But they don't like it if you mention a photographer in their seminars that isn't part of their workshops. They only want people attending their workshops to be mentioned. And I'll say it does feel imposter syndrome because you're comparing your reality of someone else's curated PR version of their community. Oh, I'm out with my favorite photographers. We're all out together. I love them. They're amazing. We hang out all the time. They're really supportive. Well, in actual fact, they meet up for a drink occasionally, and that's about it. And the worst of all, it tricks you into thinking that your worth is dependent on whether or not big names accept you. And they don't. It doesn't matter. It genuinely doesn't matter. These people often are too busy building their brand that they don't even notice you or even care about you. And I don't want to be that horrible to you, but we have this idea that we're in a community, everyone should stop time. It doesn't work like that. Not everyone in this community has a responsibility to make you feel welcome. They shouldn't make you feel unwelcome, but they don't have to run out and wave a big bunting and say, "Oh my God, you're part of it." Because I'm gonna put myself on the line here. This is a little bit insightful. I remember there was a new up and coming photographer who messaged me 3, 4 times a week, big long messages, and I would at first start messaging and reply back to them, answer their questions and help them and things. And it kept going and going and going until eventually I was exhausted having to answer them because there was never any thanks, but I thought that is what I wanted to do. Anyway, fast forward a couple of years later, I'm at the photo and video show and they're walking past. I go, "Hey," they blank me, completely blank me. Bearing in mind, I spent hours helping them. And that's what I mean. They got, and then, but their entire feed on their Facebook was like, "Oh, community, respect everybody, blah, blah." I'm like, hang on a minute. Like, no, you're not doing that. And that's what I realized because some people are just, they don't recognize what they're doing or they know what they're doing, they don't care. So, what do you do when you realize the community you're idolizing is a gated club? You build your own, which is exactly what I've done. Find 2 or 3 real peers who actually cheer from you behind closed doors. And I know who mine are. Not the ones who say, "Babes, you're killing it," while they're stealing your ideas or worse yet, slating you off behind your back. I'm going to tell you another story now. I had a friend who I thought was a friend. I used to hang out, I used to send them work, and they would, and we'd try, like, say, "Hey, I can't do the shoot. Would you like to do it?" Great friend, hung out loads. And then I got forwarded a screenshot of what she had been saying about me. And I was like, "Do you know what? I don't care. I'm done." I walked away instantly because it was so disgusting what they said. And meanwhile, they spout on about how much they're about community. If I ever went public with what they said, honestly, I don't think they would be as hot. The stuff they said was appalling, awful. It happens. And I don't know why people don't think it doesn't happen in photography because it really does. It really does. Another thing you can do is collaborate with people who match your values, not just your aesthetic. Like you will find your people. And that doesn't mean that you should stop networking, but you should start, like, how do I say it's like instead of trying to find a step up, why don't you make bridges with people so you can work together and potentially collaborate? And that's how you find people who have your same values because you can connect on that level. And if someone doesn't acknowledge you, because unless you pay them or you do one of their courses, they're not a mentor, they're a marketer, right? That I have to disclose that people's time is valuable, but if they don't want to engage with you unless you're parting dollar money, I have to say it's a little bit of a red flag for me. So you don't need to be seen by people who won't notice if you quit tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like, seen and in brackets, inverted commas, what people say. People that aren't noticing you now when you're trying to build a community with people, they're not worth noticing, okay? Community is a buzzword until you give it a real meaning. Start asking yourself, am I creating the work I love or work that fits into a current vibe that's going on out there? Am I showing up for others or just mimicking what support looks like online? Am I building something or chasing something else? Like, are you building a legacy or are you just chasing likes? Are you there like, "Oh my God, babes, yeah, I totally." You see it, right? You're in the Facebook group, right? And you see, I always go to Facebook, you're always sitting in the Facebook, you see someone commenting on something and you're like, "Oh my God, I need to lend my support." And the thing is, that person doesn't know who you are. And actually, like, everyone said the same thing you've already said. Do you need to jump on and do it? Do you? You don't need another workshop. You need more self trust because once you stop begging for a seat at someone else's table, you can start building your own. And I know this from personal experience. For years, I wanted to be like respected. There is actually a Facebook group that for some reason I'm not allowed to join. I have no idea why. And people have asked. I gave up giving a crap about, and we'll talk about it on this podcast because it's obviously a thing I want to divulge. I don't care. I have had people send me screenshots of what people are saying in that group, and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not in it. There are groups I'm in I don't care about because I'm in them because I post what I need to post and I jump straight back out. I'm not in there to get involved in the nitty gritty of it. I post for ask for some advice. I post something to share. But what I don't do is sit there for hours interacting with a lot of these because some of these people aren't the community I want. Okay. I know that sounds really awful, but as somebody who's quite outspoken, there are people who don't like me, and you have to understand that is acceptable, that is normal, and that is life. I cannot, and I mean this, be appealing to everybody because you can't physically do that. You know, I think Dita Von Teese, the famous burlesque dancer, said, "You could be the juiciest peach in the bowl, but not everybody likes peaches." Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy because if I want to make everyone like me, that is going to damage my mental health because I'm running around trying to be something that I'm not naturally. I am okay being a Marmite personality. If I wanted to make no waves, if I wanted to be the beige, boring, basic photographer, I would. But that's not how it fits with me. I know what I want to do. I know I want to go on a certain trajectory. I know where I want to be. And if the community doesn't exist to have me, I just build my own and you build it slowly and you'd be surprised. Like when I wrote my first book, Take the Effing Lens Cap Off, I was like, I know what's going to happen. And sure enough, there were people who were very unhappy about it. And the community that's supposedly supportive, there was one or two people who were like, I can't believe you've written a book, you're a nobody. Do you know what my book sold? And then I used their negative comments to create more marketing. I said, hey, this person said this about my book, and I sold. In fact, someone left a really crappy DM on me, and I shared that, and I sold 21 books pretty much I could direct from me sharing that comment, that message, sorry, and getting people to it because my community that I have built entrust me. They like what I do and they follow me. Now I don't have a massive following, I don't, but equally my following is good. The people who I hang around with are good. If you want a community that's good, but you got to know how to do it for like real. So start a critique book if you like that gives honest feedback, not oh my god I love it, but be aware that critique should be constructive, not destructive. Like if it's wrong, tell someone why it's wrong and show them how to do it better. Don't just be the douchebag. Create a shout out group with hierarchy where everyone's value and that no one's a headliner. Like tell people about stuff you're doing and be proud of it. Like yay, I've done this. Like, oh my God, well done, you. Support other photographers without expecting a repost. Now, this is something that does annoy me. I get people asking me to repost their things occasionally, and I'm like, one, I don't have a huge amount of following, but I have a really good, a relatively good engagement rate. And they're like, can you share this? I'm like, well, no. And they're like, well, why not? I'm like, because it doesn't align with what I do, and it's not something that I would naturally feel the need to share. They get crappy with me. I don't see why. I mean, you are, as a photographer, a brand and a voice. And if you're sharing anything and everything, even if it doesn't align with you, it starts to water down your brand. If I instinctively like what you do or am interested or it somehow aligns with me, I'm going to share it. I'm not saying that you are a horrible person, but community is what you build. And there are certain times there's expectations put on you to be part of the community. I can't really get my head around it. Like, people were like, oh my God, Khandie won't share my post. Oh, she's so mean. Well, because your post has got nothing to do with my audience or would be of interest to them. I kind of know who my audience. Why is the expectation there? Right? I don't know. And shout out occasionally someone smaller than you every week. Like, what's the harm in that? Because you know what? It's like when people shout out about people, they pick up the same names, don't they? I love XYZ, they're amazing. I love XYZ, they're amazing. You might have come across a lesser known photographer who's sensational and you think everyone needs to hear about this. Shout them out. That's what you do when you start building a community because it's a little thing for you, but a big thing for them probably. And that makes people start to like you. That's what real community is about. Community is built, it's not begged for. It's messy and it's mutual, and it isn't found in the comment section of your favorite influencer giveaway post, right? It's really not. Okay, I don't know if I did this right or if I said it right, but community for me has always been something that I have always wanted to create, but the community does not look the same for everybody. And there are some people who profess community and they really aren't. They're in there to boost their own ego, to have their little kingdom to manage. And you're not welcome at everybody's table, and you need to know that that's okay, and you should never expect that. Okay, I find that the more success I have in my career, the more haters come out. People say I haven't earned it, and yet the more opportunities I keep getting, right? And I'm not trying to be big headed or inflated, but I started this podcast because I felt there wasn't a podcast really in the photography stratosphere, dare I say. Please excuse the noise. I'm currently still in Oslo and the wind's picking up here. Where it had this blunt level of talking with a brutal honesty. I didn't find it. And when I launched the podcast, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I knew that somehow it would find my tribe, it would find my people, it would find the community, and it has. Is it still growing? Yes, it really is. Am I proud of it? Yes. Did I get naysayers on this? Yes. I have got messages telling me, what a load of crap. Why am I doing it? Oh, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? The reason I do it is because it annoys people like you enough to listen to it and still comment. If you're listening to it in your free time, if it's taking up space in your head, that means you identify that I'm doing something that no one else is doing because it's not existing yet, in your opinion, and therefore it's not needed. But if it doesn't exist, that means there is somebody who could potentially be looking for it. And I found that once I started presenting a podcast that felt very much like me, uh, I felt better. I was building a community. That's the reason why I wrote the books. Not everybody sits there and wants to be. What's your why? What's your purpose with photography? I wanted to tell you how to get the back out there, do your thing, shoot your shot, have fun with it. Remember, you chose to be a photographer, so start doing it. And my next book is literally about the idea that no one cares about your photography but yourself. So why are you pandering to them? And it's this very outspoken idea because I think sometimes we need to hear it. I go to seminars and it's so doesn't. Some seminars do not connect with me. They're too fluffy, they're too gentle. I don't know how to say it, and that's not a derogatory term. It just doesn't fit how I choose to learn or how I feel I learn. So I wanted to present perhaps in a way that I would want to learn, and maybe that gives me and people like me another voice that maybe resonates with them a little bit more. I don't know, maybe I've got this wrong, you know, but I want you to stop caring about a community that doesn't know you exist. If you're tired of the fakery, the performative kindness, the gatekeeping owner, the community first banner, welcome. This is a community you can be in. Me, mine, I don't know, I could give you a little name. The Candy Canes. I know, because we like to spank the competition. I'm joking. You've just found a core of the industry that actually does give a shit, and it's me. I give a shit. I want you to succeed. I don't feel threatened by you. I don't. We are all different people. You know, do you think another coffee shop opens and goes, well, I can't do this because you've got a Starbucks, a Costa's, a Nero, whatever they're all called. I can't have another brand. But yet, coffee shops open left, right, and centre. They don't because there's a different need for everybody. Also, I've had this philosophy, in my opinion. Starbucks, no, I'm out. Never liked it. I can't get behind it. No. Costa, hate the smell, hate the coffee, love the staff. Nero, slightly grumpier staff, excellent coffee. In my opinion, I'm probably getting in trouble for that. I don't know. Maybe that's obviously I'm just saying my experience. That being said, Harrison Hall always my favorite coffee spot shop, honestly, and I only ever get it when I'm at the airport because I can't find it anywhere else. Anyway, if you enjoyed this ramble of an episode, I want you to share it. I want you to put it around and tag someone who you do appreciate. Let's flood the feed of my podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, tag them in the comments below. People who would piss on us if we were on fire. And I'm going to tell you now, if you're in my community, I would gladly do a tinkle on you if you were in flames. That's the weirdest compliment I've paid out. Until next time, keep safe and stay loud. Be you, make no excuses. Continue to do what you do. You will find your community. They are just waiting to find you.